Coming up on today's Locked On Senators, we're almost there. Tomorrow, the Ottawa Senators host the Edmonton Oilers. We're going to have a full preview of that coming up at the end of the show. But first, we've got a great interview with Ohio State freshman and Ottawa Senators prospect, Stephen Halliday. Stay tuned for all of it. It's brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. This is the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Welcome inside episode 733 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And Brandon Piller will join me for our interview with Stephen Halliday. He's on his way to Vegas, can't blame him. Super Bowl on deck. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of the NFL, and I know he's going to have some fun this weekend, even though his Cincinnati Bengals aren't in the big game. We do have a big game tomorrow, though, in Ottawa. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. The Edmonton Oilers have points in 10 straight games. They're 8-0-2, so it's going to be a tough test for a Senators team coming off a long layoff. The Senators, though, are back at practice. We have some notes, updates from them. But first, I'm really excited to share this interview with you with Stephen Halliday. He was on the summer. He was shy. We were getting to know him a little bit, but now he seems to have really found his groove at Ohio State, coming off being named the third star in the Big Ten this past week. So we're really excited to get into that. He's got an outdoor game coming up, so we're fired up to get that to you coming up next. If you missed any of Locked On Senators over the past week and a half, really, since the Senators' last game, we've got interviews with Dave Poulin, Claire Hanna, Mark Mathot, and a couple great Sens Central citizens there as well. The golf clap, Patty Hines, last Monday was great after the Sens beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then this past week, we had Stephen on as well. So you can catch up on that on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube as well. I'm going to save some for after the interview. We'll get into the preview of tomorrow's game. But first, I really want to get to it. So let's go right to the interview with Stephen Halliday. First, today's episode is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's the official sportsbook of Locked On, and the NFL playoffs are at its pinnacle. The Super Bowl is here, and we're really excited to share our new sports betting partner with Locked On. They have so many great features, and if you're in the States, get this. If you start today with a $150 free bet guarantee when you place your first $5 wager. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Do it responsibly, but do it all for fun. It's FanDuel. It has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spread to player props as well. Plus, you can even combine bets for a chance to win a greater payout in the same game. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. Make sure you're doing it responsibly as well. Don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet and get $150 in free bets, win or lose, at FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel. It's the official sportsbook of the NFL and the Locked On Podcast Network. I also want to tell you about our friends over at the GLEBE Central Pub, and this is an important note we're going to be sharing on social media at Sens Central, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram, and it is the fact that the timing has changed for next Friday. We're boots on the ground at the GLEBE Central Pub, 779 Bank Street. Make sure you let them know Locked On Senators sent you whenever you head out to the GLEBE Central Pub, but I do want to make note that the Chris Neil jersey retirement will start at 6 p.m. So the buses, the shuttles, the party bus, it's leaving at 5. The live show will start at 4 o'clock Eastern time next Friday. We're 1 week away, but it's always a good time to head to the GLEBE Central Pub. They've got shuttles for more than just the upcoming game on Friday. We hope you join us for, but if you missed that one, still want to get to a game, don't want to drive, want to do it for a reasonable cost of $15 round trip to and from the GLEBE Central Pub, just head over to their website, GLEBECentralPub.com, and the online store will take care of the rest. We're really excited to share our love with the GLEBE Central Pub next week. Oh, It's going to be a great day to be an Ottawa Senators fan. If you don't drink, don't worry. Just come on, have a good time, live show, and then we'll take the bus to the CTC in time for the Chris Neil jersey retirement. And then afterwards, the bus drops us right back off at the Glebe Central Pub. So check it out today. It's the Glebe Central Pub in the heart of the Glebe, 779 Bank Street, and make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. All right, here he is, Ohio State freshman. It's Stephen Halliday. All right, we now welcome a very special guest back to Locked On Senators, a two-time guest now. It's Stephen Halliday from the Ohio State University Buckeyes. Stephen, last time we talked to you, you were just getting ready to go to campus. How's the university lifestyle treating you?
Pretty good. Can't complain with, getting to play hockey and go to school and play 2 games a week. So it's pretty nice to work on your game, and we travel pretty nicely too. So.
Yeah. So what's the biggest difference? You spent 4 seasons in the USHL. So far, what's the biggest difference for you from USHL hockey to college hockey?
Yeah, it's the hockey aspect, or just kind of the stuff difference.
Both. Yeah, both.
Hockey is a little bit more like Game 7 every night because the rankings are pretty tight pretty much the whole year. There's a mathematical system, and I know top 16 teams get in, but if you win your league, you automatically get a bid. And so there's some teams that'll win their league that aren't in the top 16. So I know that at least we always play really hard every night, just because you never really know how that works out at the end of the year. You don't want to really give yourself a non-chance, or you want to give yourself the best chance, obviously. But I'd say the game that everyone plays harder. Everyone wants to block the shots. It's a little bit different than juniors. A lot of the guys are a little bit stronger and older, like I kind of mentioned beforehand. I kind of knew that, but I definitely say you have to be way more attentive to the details. I think just because there's less leeway of sitting around, and you have to really kind of know where your guy is a lot in the D zone at least. But then off the ice, it's a pretty big jump in the sense where we're taking charters to places, not busing 12 hours, which is
not a big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely really sick, and we get pretty good food here too. We catered today. We catered this hibachi place. It was pretty sick.
Nice.
So we're getting some solid food, and then can't complain with the ice rink. We get ice every day. That's really close. If it's not in at the shot because the basketball's playing, it's a bus ride that we get to we hop on with all of our gear on and stuff. It's pretty funny. But then the weight room's just upstairs too, and getting to train more too. I know at juniors we play 62 games. Here we play 30, just over 30. So it's a lot more just doing more throughout the week. You can do more throughout the week, with training and stuff, which has definitely been a big factor into my development, I think.
That's awesome. Well, some might remember, and of course, if you want to get to know Stephen more so, the first time we had him on, we kind of talked about your life leading up to this point, but you were originally committed to North Dakota, and they were expecting you in the fall of 2021. How much, including being drafted into the NHL, do you think this extra year in the USHL helped you to make the jump to college? Because you mentioned being older, stronger. Has that been a big reason why you've been able to have this immediate success?
Yeah, for sure though. I think the biggest thing about going back last year was just I really like the coach in Dubuque. He's actually the head coach at BC right now, Greg Brown. Okay. He's been a really big influential part in my development the last couple of years, just because he really understood the way I wanted to play, and he's coached so many players. The list is amazing, about how many guys he's coached, and he's seen them. And so he kind of gave me a lot of tips and stuff on how to work on my game and how I can be the best version of me. And he's coached guys like Johnny Gaudreau, which is not my game at all, a way different game. But he definitely thinks some of the stuff that he does really well, I could also implement into my game to make me better. Or Chris Kreider was really big on tipping pucks. So I think just stuff like that, he's always tried to help me with. He's been a big influence, I'd say. And but yeah, I'd say the immediate success, it's a lot of my teammates too. Play with 2 really great line mates. I know one of them I'm really close with, Tate Singleton. Kind of played with him the whole year, and we kind of do a lot of video together, and we always work on stuff together, outside of practice and at the rink at different times doing a little bit extra. But I think that's another big part is just doing a little bit extra and becoming more familiarity with like the game. I think it's helped a lot too.
Love that. That's a great breakdown. And you actually assisted on Tate Singleton's goal that broke a tie. You got the game winner. You had 5 assists this weekend. We're kind of bearing the lead. The Big Ten third star of the week. Not a big deal. Pillsy, you know that he leads Ohio State in assists, right?
I was watching the other video. Sorry.
You're all good. No, I'm just laughing at Pillsy because this summer, Pillsy, you take it from here because we've kind of had some fun and it's grown a life of its own. Pillsy, get into it.
Yeah, Stephen, I don't know if you remember the first time we chatted with you. I'm such a goof. I don't know why. I said in an offhand comment, I was like, oh, it's okay you didn't make that pass or whatever because you're not really a disher. And you were quick to correct me, rightfully so. You're like, well, no, I actually kind of am a disher. I had 60 assists last year, so I kind of consider myself a disher. So now it's become an online joke at my expense that every time we see Stephen Halliday highlights, especially when you're racking up the assists, you've had 7 games with 2 or more assists in games, and the joke has been that you are in fact a disher. So
confirmed.
I just see this is your revenge tour on me for saying that you weren't a disher because you're certainly getting those apples pretty much every night. So I got to give you credit there.
Thanks. I think I saw a couple of videos. I think I watched it was one of the last couple of videos where you said you were taking heat online for it, but I find it funny. I mean, that's always kind of been my game, and I kind of play with a couple of guys that are pretty good at shooting the puck, so it definitely helps, makes life a little bit easier. But I was laughing at that one.
Awesome. Yes. Sens Prospects always puts #disher whenever he posts a video of your assist. That's awesome. We're going to get back to hockey stuff, but I want to talk off ice because I know you're a big sports fan overall. Tennis in particular. Have you seen this new Breakpoint show where they go behind the scenes?
Yeah, I was watching it the other day, actually. I love that stuff. I think it's really cool. I haven't finished it. I'm midway through, but like definitely seeing the behind the scenes and like I didn't know like some of these guys like how other than the Taylor Fritz one, he was thinking about not playing in the finals and it's against Nadal, so like he's already thinking he's probably might not lose it, probably losing, and then he ends up playing with like a foot that like all the guys are saying him not to play, and he ends up beating Nadal too, and he wins his like first ATP Masters. So I just love that stuff. It gets me fired up to go back to the rink and stuff like that. So
that's awesome. My follow-up to that is, I know you probably heard that Ryan Reynolds is in the mix here with the Sens, new ownership coming soon, but let's talk about it at Ohio State. Would it affect your performance at all if you knew the cameras were following you and interviewing you in between each thing that you did, or would you welcome that kind of coverage?
We don't really get too much coverage at OSU.
No, I'm saying if someone came in, let's say an alumni, someone who's got, and he's like, I want to film the behind the scenes, the road to a national championship. Like, would you welcome that, like behind the scenes?
I think that'd be like really good. Like, I think like a lot of our guys are pretty like they have good personalities, so I think like it would be definitely like a good watch, I'd say, but. Yeah, I think it'd probably like fire the boys up a little bit, but I would welcome it personally. But I think it'd be cool to like share the experience because I know like I'm really big into that. Like I love watching like behind the scenes stuff of like other sports, even some of the other hockey teams. Like I was big into the Jordan one, the documentary on Jordan. I thought that was really cool.
That's the Last Dance, right?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, I think it's personally pretty cool. So I would always welcome it at Ohio State. I think they'd probably go to the football program before the hockey.
Maybe. Have you been out to any football games? What's the atmosphere like down at that's not the big house in Michigan. We're going to get to you playing an outdoor game sooner than later, but what's it like at the football stadium there? Are you
you can
watch on YouTube.
We're getting behind the scenes right now.
Oh yeah, there's the football stadium over there.
Nice.
Yeah, solid, but
it's enormous. That looks like an NFL stadium. How many does it seat like an NFL capacity, give or take?
Yeah. I think it's like right around 100,000. They call it the shoe.
The shoe.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I went to the best game I went to was they went to Wisconsin and there was a blackout. So it was at night too. It was really, really fun experience. I sat in the student section though, and like I'm more of like I'm not really a big like cheer, like I'm like all over the cheering, but like they were just yelling. My ears were like ringing the whole. It's a really loud experience, but I actually really liked watching the football because they had a really good team this year too.
Nice. That's awesome. So, I mean, you got a massive football team on your campus, but what are some other cool parts about Ohio campus?
Yeah, the campus it's pretty big. So I actually got a scooter, so I'm scooting around on my little scooter. It's
Nice.
a little cold now, but definitely in like the summer months, it's a little bit more fun just to like get out and like scooter. I got scooter around to some of the buildings, but as far as like I found that there's like an athletic like almost like I'm trying to like it's like a boardwalk almost. There's like all the
Okay.
athletic parts and the Schottenstein. That's where we plays on one of them, and like I have like a couple friends on the tennis team, so like I'll always like I really want to go check out their like new facility. So that's something I want to do. But some cool spots. There's like a Mirror Lake, which is like it's pretty funny because pretty much every like pond or like you can see like your reflection, and that's why they call it Mirror Lake. So it's funny, but that place is pretty cool. Just to like if you ever want to go for a walk there, like that's always a good spot. But I wouldn't say there's like too much like really big attractions because I find it really hard to sometimes navigate because there's so many buildings that are different names and stuff and type. But overall, like it's a pretty good campus. I think it all like revolves around the shoe, which is cool too. Like everyone parks at the shoe because it's massive parking. And you kind of like go every which way to your classes. But yeah.
Do you guys put the stickers on your helmet like the football team does? What does that stand for? Is that like doing something well in practice?
Oh yeah, like I actually had to ask that question a bit ago because I wasn't really sure like how the actual like how many, but so we get one per win.
Okay.
Sweep is 3, so that we get an extra sticker, and a shutout is an extra sticker. So if we let's say like everything is like a perfect weekend, we sweep them and we get 2 shutouts, we get like 5. So I think we've just filled half our helmet. So we're getting into the second half here. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. I like that. It's a good team building thing too. That you guys can go from sport to sport and compare notes. You talk about the shoe. Why isn't the outdoor game you guys playing at the shoe? You guys have to go to Cleveland?
Yeah, that would be really cool. I think that would be like maybe like one of the best experiences like you could ever have if it was at the shoe, because like I know that the students would get up for it. It would be really sick. But I'm not sure. I think the Brown Stadium like will be cool because I think I would assume some of like there's a couple of Browns players that went to OSU. So I think that they'll probably be around there too. So maybe we'll get to see those guys. But I'm really excited. What I heard was there's like 60,000 tickets sold. So like it's supposed to be it's supposed to be a pretty big game just because like I honestly couldn't tell you like why like Cleveland would get that many tickets sold, but I think it's really sick so far.
Well, it's only a 2-hour drive from Ohio State University to Cleveland. You're hoping it's going to be a little bit tougher of a drive around Lake Erie from Michigan. You guys are playing Michigan at home and then outdoor. Cleveland Browns Stadium, 60,000. When's the last time you played an outdoor game?
Minor hockey. I think it was like a Buffalo one, maybe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty fired up. I hope there's like a little bit of light snow. That would be a sick setting. Yep. Get the little eye black going too. So
yeah, that would be awesome. And I mean, it's pretty crazy that like most likely that's gonna be your game on the biggest stage with the most people watching, at least live, that you might ever have. Like that's insane that you're gonna get to experience that, and I assume it's gonna be really loud. And have you guys played Michigan already this season?
Yeah, it was we split in Ann Arbor. That was honestly a really cool game. I've never played at Yost. It's like a really big. Their stands are almost like they're on top of you. They're like really
an entire window on one end of the rink too.
Yeah, we played at like it was like 5 or 6 the one night, and we got there like 2. It was so cool because like the natural light they have in there is really cool too.
Yeah.
But back to the outdoor game, we're actually getting special jerseys for it that we're not allowed to see until we get to the rink, which I think
nice.
So apparently they were trying to go for more of like a black look too. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
Okay.
But I think that'd be pretty sick. Yeah.
Man, so this is a big end to you guys' regular season. You're number 7 in the country right now, which is super impressive. I think. Would you guys say you guys have exceeded expectations based on what people were saying coming in?
Yeah, I wasn't really like super sure on like how like we would fare just because I didn't really know the league as well as like the guys that were here last year, because it's kind of like you build on the years before with like some of the guys that you come in. Our senior class is really heavy. I think we got like 14 or 15 guys. So I knew we'd be a playoff team just because when you have that many guys that have been around, you kind of like know how to play in those big games. So I think that was always in the back of our heads. And I think we got a really good goalie, obviously. And we got a lot of like really high end talent, like with Mason, Lowrife, Boston Pick, and Wise and Dobie. Those 3 guys are really big for us. But I think exceeding expectations, like I'm not so. I think we're doing really well. I think we'll continue to do really well. But I think we knew we were really good. I think we were like second. We were ranked like second last for the Big Ten preseason poll. So I think that was something that maybe lit a fire under us, but not so much. I don't know if we'd say that. But
well, why don't I light another fire? You're still two spots behind Michigan, man. Is that going to change by the end of this outdoor game?
Yeah, like that's the goal every night is especially like we actually don't call them Michigan over here. We call them the team up north. So if they ever come down here, that's we call them the team up north. But
I love it.
I would say that those 2 games are pretty big for us because not only are they big for like hair wise, but for Big Ten, like we want to try to win the Big Ten. I think we got to get a little help from some other teams to catch Mini, obviously, but if not, like we really want that second spot.
Well, yeah, and Minnesota's the top team right now in the country, and that's where you guys end off your regular season. You got to play against them a couple of games. So this is going to be an awesome sprint to the finish, eh? And you feel comfortable. Yeah. I feel like you feel comfortable at school. Like I don't know if obviously it was our first time meeting over the summer, but you feel like you're in a good spot right now. Is the plan to go back next year no matter what, or if the Sens come calling, would you consider turning pro?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty set on coming back just from what I've talked. So like it's like for me, like the whole school thing was kind of the reason I went to school was just because get more a little physically mature and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't really know at this point. I'm just kind of taking it day by day. But I think coming back would be really good for me, obviously. So I think that's kind of where my head's at right now. But
no, I put you on the spot there too. We don't like doing that on this show. That's bad. The dash one. I'm not calling you not a disher, but I'm gonna say that's dash one for me. But speaking of the Sens, what kind of conversations do you have throughout the year? Like, is it Jesse Winchester that's reaching out, Sean Donovan? How often are you in contact with the team, whether it's about workouts or just checking in on how you're doing?
Yeah, no, I always Dono's been to a couple of games this year. I think Jesse's planning on coming to Minnesota, so that'll be like a sick game to watch. I know that'll be sold out for sure, but my dad is bringing a couple of his like work friends, which will be cool too. So try to make sure that give the guy a good show for some work colleagues. But no, they've been really good. Like just kind of like they've given me some great tips on like how maybe I should be playing this like better hockey for me, at least tips that like I really value because obviously Dono knows what it takes to make it, obviously, and same with Jesse and Jeremy Benoit came down last week and I had a really good talks with him and just kind of like seeing like what he had to say about being a pro and stuff. So that's what I'm trying to work through myself is just kind of taking the next steps for being a pro, like habits and stuff, which is big for me too. So I know Jeremy's a really good resource for me. I really like talking to him and hearing what he has to say too. So
Jeremy's the Belleville Sens strength conditioning coach, so that's a good guy to have on your side for sure. Bills, you got anything more for Stephen?
Yeah, last for me is like I know you mentioned a little bit the difference between USHL and college, but like the fact that you're playing so many less games, so much more spread out. Do you like that? I know you said it kind of creates intensity for each game, but do you kind of like having the groove of playing games more consistently to keep you involved? Or do you like having a little bit more time off and then it's like, okay, these are game days. I get absolutely hyped for these. What's your opinion on that kind of dynamic?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we played 62 last year, and we play like a lot less this year, obviously. But the travel is nicer this year, obviously, because we get nicer like flights and stuff like that. But I actually really like the schedule because I can really work on my game in the weeks leading up to the weeks. Like me and my line mate Tate Singleton, we're really big into like doing extra stuff. I know we skated twice on Monday, just working on extra stuff. We shoot in we have a shooting room here. We'll shoot pretty much every day. But also like me and him do a lot of video together, like just kind of like talking about what we see. So I kind of like know where he is on the ice or what he's thinking to do. But I really like having we have had a couple bye weeks too, which is where you can really push yourself with extra workouts and stuff. I know our strength coach has been really helpful with like giving me some extra tips on what to do maybe. And then also like talking with Jeremy, like just kind of like building stuff there too. So I think that the college is definitely like the right path for me in the sense where I can work on my game a lot more than I would be able to in junior. So I think that that's a big thing for me.
Great answer. Final question for me, Stephen. How's the school portion of it? I'm reading that you haven't decided on a major yet or declared one, but how's class going? Do you have a favorite subject or anything yet?
Yeah, class has been great. It's definitely it's definitely another part to the whole lifestyle here, but class has been pretty good. I've been back and forth on majors between these two different ones, but right now,
which ones?
Yeah, we'll put it to a poll. The fans.
Yeah, that'd be a good poll. This would be a unique one, but business, which is the generic hockey, like pretty much a lot of my teammates are in. But the unique one would be vet med.
Okay.
So,
okay, cool.
Ohio State has like a good veterinarian program, and that's something that I kind of wanted to do going in. I think I maybe talked about it last time we were on the podcast, but just I'm kind of taking a couple courses to just dip my toes into like what that route would be. So just kind of, I think I'm in. Well, I know I'm in animal science right now, so I'm just learning about stuff like that. So
nice.
I really like that stuff. So I mean. Yeah, I mean, they're two different options, but those are the kind of the two majors I'm looking at right now. But the scoring's it was hard at first, like to balance it because you don't really know like what classes are going to give you the most trouble. And like sometimes you'll just get thrown with a 500 or plus word essay and you have like a couple of days, but you have practice. But yeah, we all like all the seniors have been helping me out too with managing stuff. So good. I've been pretty good so far.
And are you taking any special effects classes? Am I reading that you're an experienced videographer? I know some people lie about their height. Are they lying? How experienced are you at being a
proficient in video editing? Or
I'm actually really good at that. I can do I'm pretty good with special. I used to do like hockey highlights back in the day. I have a shout out a couple of my boys, but one of them's an Ottawa fan. His name's Nathan. He's actually a really good dude. I met him at Dev Camp. But yeah, I used to do a little bit of video editing for like hockey player, like just like hockey plays. That's what I watched a lot of hockey too. So I kind of learned a lot of stuff from it too, which is like pretty unique. But I can do like pretty good like color correction. I could do a couple like special effects stuff, but I'm mainly good at like chopping video up. I can do that pretty well, obviously. But I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm like a pro video effects guy, but I can dabble in the video.
Experience. It's like me saying I speak French, but I'm not bilingual. I can get by though, for sure.
That's exactly.
Me too, Ross. Yeah, me too.
Sure. Yeah, I took French class, but I can't hold a conversation.
Well, Stephen, we had Joey Decord. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was a friend of the show, and he would make his own highlight packs. And it was the best at the end of the season when Joey Decord would post highlight packs of himself that he edited. Yeah. So you got to get on that. I mean, hey, you got to promote yourself.
I'm not too much into like doing it on myself because I think it's pretty cheesy. But so a couple of my guys will ask for. A couple of my boys, like hockey players, will ask for a couple of highlight tapes that I might have to make. So a couple of them made them themselves, and they're just so bad. Like
there's no shame in that. You got to be doing that. I want to see this is your homework assignment from us. I want to see a highlight pack of all your assists this season.
Yeah, just for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, hey, you said your boys asked for clips. We're asking, but we're asking for your highlights. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully there's a trophy at the end of that
If you win, okay, there it is. Here's the deal. If you
Yes.
win the national championship this year, we get in the summer all your assists, chopped and screwed, color corrected. I need this to be presentable on our YouTube channel, and we'll give you all the revenue. Hey, we'll get
I'll make the deal if we win the national championship. If we make the national championship, I'll have a package for you.
Awesome.
Locked in. All right.
All spiced up too.
What song's gonna be in the background? What's on the iPod before games right now?
Before games, yeah. Like I kind of I'll listen to like I'm a bit of rap before the game. We actually have Tate does the music, so sometimes I'll take my headphones off. He has some. I hate to admit it, he has some good tunes sometimes, you know.
Okay.
But I like to listen to more upbeat songs. Like I'm more like One Republic, Coldplay. Like on the way to the rink, just feeling good. And then when it comes to game time, I'll probably throw on some like rap. Like I know it's pretty like generic with like the Lil Baby and stuff like that, but I'll throw on a couple of raps, maybe a little Eminem coming really for game time. But yeah, so probably those kind of couple of tunes are where I'm usually listening to before games, rocking the headphones.
Heck yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, we really appreciate your time. We're gonna be cheering for you guys against the team up north coming up at the in Cleveland and playing at the football stadium, man. Soak in that atmosphere. We're praying for a light snow, not too much. We need you to be able to dish the puck out there, but we are excited to see you guys finish the season strong and make some noise in the tournament with a trophy at the end. But hey, we appreciate you. Sens fans are following along, man. Everyone's fired up to see your development, and we appreciate you doing this, man. This has been great.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Where are you? He's having a good time. We'll be back next week, but I'll have the postcast for you tomorrow. Riding solo, as my guy at Lalim's Martian is out fishing with the fellas, so can't argue with that either. We'll all be back next Friday, live, GLEBE Central Pub. In case you missed the ad, we are leaving a little bit earlier. Live show starts at 4. We've got the buses leaving at 5 o'clock. Just note that as well. I've got a locked on player coming up for the Saturday game. I got some keys to victory against the Edmonton Oilers. But first, let's catch up on what the Ottawa Senators came back to practice looking like. And it goes as follows. Well, the exact same. You don't change a winning lineup except when you get a player back from injury, which we'll get to on the back end. But up front, it's the same 12. It's Tim Stützle at center between Brady Tkachuk and Mathieu Joseph. Then it's Ridley Gregg between Alex DeBrincat and Claude Giroux. Shane Pinto centers a line of Derek Brassard and Drake Batherson. Dylan Gambrell is between Tyler Mott and Parker Kelly. On the back end, Shabbat's got his old partner back. It's Artem Zub, who returns from injury. Jake Sanderson will stay with Travis Hamonic, and Eric Brandstrom is with Nick Holden. We expect Anton Forsberg to start. Cam Talbot, still a week or so away, skated before practice yesterday, but is not ready to make a return, meaning that Mads Sogard will back up. The extras, interesting. Nikita Zaitsev comes out for Artem Zub, and Austin Watson stays out of the lineup. It seems to be a shift in what the role that he's going to have on this team, with Parker Kelly just banging bodies every shift. He shifts over to right wing, and once Tyler Mott came back, the decision was made that Austin Watson would be coming out of the lineup. Tyler Mott's in that fourth line position as well. My locked on player, how can it not be Ridley Gregg? It's a guy who he had such a great 4 games, but now how do you back it up? How do you keep the momentum now that the adrenaline might have worn off touch? You always get that fresh new bump when you come up sometimes. Shane Pinto had it certainly with 8 points in his first 12 career games, but Ridley Gregg certainly is in a position to succeed. But I'm curious to see this next stretch of games, which is busy. 11 games in 20 days starting on Saturday. I'm going to be curious to see how Ridley Gregg handles that. And now that he's back from Belleville, even though he didn't play down there, he was down and was able to get some practices in. So I'll be locked on to Ridley Gregg because right now he's playing in a top 6 center position. And you know the Edmonton Oilers have 2 centers that are probably the 2 best centers in the league. Maybe 2 of the top 3. You can throw McKinnon in there as well. I won't hate you for that. And I guess Austin Matthews has to be in the mix there too. But hey, these guys, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, they're going to come to play. And I'm really interested to see how Ridley Gregg and Shane Pinto too, the two middle six centers on this team, how they're going to react to the speed, skill, hard to play against. It's just not easy when those guys are on the ice. Just ask all their opponents, especially their last 10, 8-0-2, as I mentioned. Now, at Laleem's Martian wanted me to give an extra locked on player. He's got Brady Tkachuk. He wants to see how he's settling in because we know everyone else was off for 2 weeks. He wasn't. He was able to get down to the All-Star game, had a lot of family commitments, had a lot of NHL commitments. How's he going to be coming off that break? Because he was red hot going into it. Just ask the Montreal Canadiens and their fans in that Tuesday game, rather. They beat the wheels off them on Saturday and were able to get the regulation win Tuesday with Brady Tkachuk leading the way. Tim Stützle having a great game there as well. It's time for Sens hockey. I know we're all going a little stir crazy without it, but Laleem's Martian has Brady Tkachuk as his locked on player. Now let's take a look at how the Edmonton Oilers are expected to line up tomorrow. Connor McDavid is playing on a line with Dylan Holloway and Derek Ryan. Yeah, maybe not household names, although Dylan Holloway was a first-round pick in a recent draft and certainly has potential, but I was a little surprised to see a grinder type like Derek Ryan on the Connor McDavid line. Leon Draisaitl will center a line of Evander Kane and Zach Hyman, who is certainly busted out offensively, almost 100-point pace right now for Zach Hyman. The third line is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in between Klim Kostin and Matthias Janmark. And the fourth line is McLeod, Descharnay, and Warren Foegele. On the back end, it's Darnell Nurse with Cody Ceci, Brett Kulak with Tyson Barrie, and Philip Broberg with Evan Bouchard. We're unsure of who's going to start in goal. It was all-star Stuart Skinner who got the start in Philadelphia, the shootout loss yesterday night, or is it going to be Jack Campbell, the goalie, who Tim Stützle scored his first career NHL goal up against? So, of course, we're not privy to that information just yet with the game tomorrow, but my lookout player, well, I should just start by telling you their leading scorer. Connor McDavid has 52 games played and 94 points. I honestly feel like we're at the point where we're almost underrating what this guy can do. The gap between him and the next highest player in the NHL standings for most points is almost 20. It's 18 points separating him. And oh yeah, Leon Draisaitl is second in the league in points. How many came off assists from Connor McDavid? Nikita Kucherov right there at 76. And that's where it gets most impressive, where you see such a cluster of players right after. It's 76, 76, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68. You get where I'm going with this. It's basically one after another. And then 18 points separates the second from Connor McDavid. So maybe it's too easy to say Connor McDavid, but I'll give you a little context. In the COVID-shortened season, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl absolutely destroyed the Ottawa Senators. I believe Edmonton was 8-0, 9-0 against the Ottawa Senators during that lockout, or the COVID-shortened season. 9-0. Connor McDavid had 21 points in 9 games. 21 points. And Leon Draisaitl was right there with him. So you look at how these guys have carved up the Ottawa Senators in the past, and you always have to be wary about what could happen when those guys are on the ice. And they play almost half the game as well. They're up there in time on ice leaders for forwards in the league. Connor McDavid's at 22.39, and Leon Draisaitl plays 21.57 on average per game. And if we go sort this by all forwards, you're looking at the guys with the second and fourth most average ice time per game among forwards. Mikko Rantanen, the only man with more than Connor McDavid. The top Senator on this list is Tim Stützle with 20 minutes and 37 seconds per game. He sits 14th league-wide. So that just shows you where Connor McDavid is ahead of his peers. And maybe you're saying, well, yeah, he plays more, he scores more, but 18 points clear of the field. Really impressive there. So key to victory, shut those guys down. How about that? Does that work? I think honestly you got to stay disciplined because their power play does so much damage. The Oilers are the only team that has more power play goals than the Ottawa Senators this year. Pause. Yeah, the Sens are that good on the power play, just aren't able to convert at 5-on-5 the same way that Edmonton does. But on the power play, Edmonton, 31.8%. number 1 in the league by a long shot. Ottawa's number 2, 27%, but that just goes to show you how impressive that power play is for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, 5-on-5, yeah, you're going to have to be a little bit better than they were, but hey, they've won 4 games in a row, Ottawa I'm talking about now, and how can they build on that with such a gap in between games? That's where I'm going to be really intrigued to see where they're going to go, because the Oilers are 10th in the league in 5-on-5 goals. The Senators, 31st. Only Chicago has less 5-on-5 goals than the Ottawa Senators. So we'll be intrigued to see how that all shakes out, but we do know we're going to have an afternoon game. I should have mentioned this earlier, but start time 12:30 p.m. Eastern. It's 11:30 a.m. for me in Central Time. So we'll see how this goes, but keep the discipline at its peak. No too many men penalties, please, and try to keep the minors to a minimum as well. It's going to be a great day for Sens hockey just because we have it. 11 days we're going to have to wait. Or we did have to wait until this game. So I'm going to be really intrigued and excited to see how the Senators come out. Just one last note before the show. One of our Sens Central citizens going through a bit of a tough time, but we know he's going to bounce back and be stronger than ever. It was Bob Larmer, who I got to meet at the, I'm forgetting the name, but the bar at the Sensplex. It's not the Glebe Central Pub, but it should be. Next time, Glebe Central Pub, we'll see Bob there. But Bob was in the hospital this past week, had a tumor removed from his brain, but he's telling me surgery went well, and he says he listened to the podcast to keep up with the Ottawa Senators, and we just want to say keep fighting, Bob. I got to meet him and his son at the Sensplex there. So really, really looking for this road to recovery to be very smooth sailing, and we appreciate you for reaching out, and we're all thinking about you, Bob. So all the best in your battle, and anything you need, you let us know, and the Sens community will come together for you. Also, one more note before we go, and this is just a great initiative. The Sens showing more and more about how much in the community they're going to make a difference. And today they had 2 young men at practice. Of course, it's Black History Month. Black History Appreciation Night will be on Monday for the Ottawa Senators, and 2 players were bullied last season. Racist remarks, just absolutely despicable comments were made towards them, Anthony and Kobe, and they joined the Ottawa Senators at practice today. So great to see them battle through and persevere their commitment to the game and not letting racism win. So they took a great photo with the Senators at center ice during their practice last night. Super cool to see, and we hope to see continued support for the Senators in moments like this. And of course, there's this great photo. You got to check it out at Senators on Twitter. I'm retweeting it at Sens Central as well, of Mathieu Joseph with the 2 young men there holding a stick. Fans for life, and absolutely great to see. And we hope to see more of it going forward for the Senators. Final note for me as we head into the weekend is hope you enjoyed the last week. We can't thank you enough. The fact that the numbers go up when the Senators don't play, and sure, a 4-game win streak can help out. There's no question about that, but it blows my mind how each and every day we can rely on you guys being our first listen, and that means a lot to us and the entirety of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's just great to see that, hey, whether the Sens are playing, winning, losing, or whether they're off for 11 days, we really do appreciate and we notice that you guys stick with us. So just wanted to say thank you to everyone for that. And Pilsy will be back, I'm sure, feeling great on Monday after the Super Bowl in Vegas. We hope he's having a blast. Hope you guys enjoyed our chat with Stephen Halliday. His season cannot be understated how great it's been. 28 games, 30 points, tied with Matthew Nyes, who Leafs are talking about how he's untouchable. I mean, you're looking at Stephen Halliday. He's on fire right now, and we're looking forward to that trophy video he's going to send us when they win the Natty. 7th ranked in the country right now. They've got the team from up north. Outdoor game on the February 18th, the day after, maybe the 17th, the day after 18th. Yes, 18th is the Saturday. So we'll be following along with Steven and maybe get him back on before the NCAA tournament that will happen in late March, early April. But for today, I say goodbye. I want to say for Brandon Piller, I guess he was on the episode. He was with Steven. So for Stephen Halliday and Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day.